here with Serena Jasmine, who released her debut album, Everlasting, July of this year. Going into that album, what was the beginning stages of the process like?
Yeah, so the beginning stages was quite unknown actually. It was I kind of set out to make an album at the end of the day that I didn't know what it was going to tell. I just knew that I wanted it to be called Everlasting, and it kind of just all unfolded from there.
So I was gonna ask you why the name Everlasting? Why did that resonate with you?
Yeah, so I when I first came across that word, I don't even know how I came across that word, but I loved that it was so tangible. Like to me, it had such a dual concept. It was kind of like a spectrum of what is becoming permanent for better or for worse. So I found everlasting to have really lovely or like beautiful connotations, with the legacy you're leaving, family, friends, like love as well. But there was also kind of the other flip side to it, which was kind of the long-term impact of trauma and oppression and yeah, all the ugly stuff, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because listening to the album, it feels very peaceful and healing. When you were making it, did you know what themes you wanted to include, or did they just kind of come up in the writing process?
Yeah, a lot of it did come up in the writing process. I think as creatives or writers, you are influenced a lot by life experience. And sometimes you don't really think about the stuff you've experienced until some sort of musical form hits you and it kind of connects to that. It kind of re-jogs your memory, like, yeah, actually, this happened to me and I can just write about it. So yeah, a lot of the process, within the process, it really began to tell its own story.
Yeah, do you feel like this album almost felt like therapy in a way, like really writing about certain things? Do you feel like anything kind of came up in the process that you thought, okay, I need to heal from this, like I need to work on this?
Yeah, definitely. I think within the process, a lot did come up. I think at the start, I was very optimistic, talking about the great stuff of everlasting, the word. I was like, yeah, I'm ready to write this really like beautiful and like happy kind of project. And as it started to unfold, I was like, wait, there's other sides that I really need to unpack from this. And there's a quote that Nina Simone always has said, and it's as a duties, no, an artist's duty is to reflect the times. And yeah, I think when I was living in some of the times, just witnessing what was happening around the world and within me, even, um, yeah, it just kind of splurted out my mouth, basically.
Yeah, because of course in this album, so you released Land of Lies as a single that kind of
Yes.
talks about essences of oppression and feeling like you've said before that you couldn't really showcase your culture growing up. How do you think your upbringing shaped your music now, and why do you think it's so important to showcase your culture through the visuals, like the album artwork, for example?
Yeah, it was very important to me because I think representation is such a big thing, right? And when you've not seen yourself in spaces where you want to be growing up, it's difficult. It's really difficult. And I feel like when you're growing up, especially, you should really have in your mind that there's nothing you can't do. But it's really hard to see yourself in places where you don't see yourself, if that makes sense. So, yeah, carrying my culture in my artistry is so important to me because it's just something I would have want to seen when I was younger. And so it's kind of like healing a part of me every time I do it.
Yeah. That essence of there's nothing I can't do, do you feel like you always had that, or do you think you reached a certain point in life where that almost clicked within you?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever always had that. Definitely not. I think it's always a work in progress with that. It's kind of like an imposter syndrome, I guess, and that is definitely something I'm always fighting. So yeah, it's an ongoing journey with that, definitely.
Yeah, so with the singles on this, let's get into it. So Land of Lies, you released it as a single, I'll Be Home Late, and Sweet Talker. Out of all of the 20 tracks, what made you pick those three to kind of have their own moment?
Yeah, well, I actually released six singles from the album actually,
Okay.
and it was difficult to choose them because in my head, oh, all of them were single worthy. So Labyrinth was the first single I dropped from the album, and I remember it being terrifying. It was scary. It hadn't released in 2 years, and I was thinking, literally the night before, I was like crying. I was like, maybe just I'm actually not good enough to be doing this. Like I'm creating this hype, and I'm just like, what if it doesn't live up to the expectation? But that was all in my head because after it was getting radio plays, and I was just looking at myself. Like I remember releasing that and waiting for my other single to be released, and I was just like, wait, this is actually kind of fun and therapeutic and it's good vibes. So yeah, those singles that I dropped, I think I just felt really great vibes. It just felt like the perfect set of releases to release
Mhm.
after 2 years of not releasing. So yeah.
How do you feel like this may be a hard question, but all of those singles kind of showcase the rest of the album? Because I feel like when you drop singles, you're almost teasing the body of work and it's like showcasing that. So how would you say all
Definitely.
of those singles kind of really showcase these are the singles, listen to the rest of the project?
Yeah, definitely. I think those singles really showcase the diversity on the album. Um there is a lot of difference sonically, there's so much variation and also lyrically in the writing. So those six singles really did just elevate the essence of variety, which I always love in a project. I love when I click play on an album and it's all like quite different on the tracks. That's something I'm definitely drawn to.
Yeah, so going into the album's collaborations, there's so many collabs on this project. I loved it. But to
Yeah.
name a few, we had 32 Burden, Lily Smith, and Ranger. What would you say you learned from all of your collaborators during this process?
So much. I learned so much. There is a lot of these creatives, or all of the creatives even, are West Midlands based. And there was a point in time where I didn't know a lot of creatives actually. Making my first project, I knew nobody. It was just me and Ranger, actually, who's also co-produced this album with me that I knew. And so I didn't know a lot of the other creatives. And it's when I stepped into this Coventry scene, well, I found some of my favorite artists actually. Um, you know, Credo, Samo, 32 Burden, Lily Smith, um, Nyota, Kimberly, Lily, and Ranger. There's a lot that goes into it. And I connected as well with these amazing South Asian musicians, Nishi and Jessel. Nishi plays the bansuri and Jessel plays the doublers. And that was one of the most healing collaborations I've ever been part of because it really allowed me to explore my cultural identity a lot within music. And yeah, throughout all these collaborations, Joe Beasley as well as a producer. I learned so much. It was really nice to see everybody flourish in their own format and really give space to each of the collaborators to tell their own story on my tracks.
Yeah. Talk to me about the last song on the album. So it almost feels like an 11-minute meditation, almost like it really wraps up the album really well. Why did you want to put that last? What's the story behind it?
Yeah, so that last track, yeah, is 11 minutes long, as you said. It's called Japcha, which means journey in Bangla. And it just felt right. The first time I ever went into a practice room or studio essence with Credo, one of the features on that track, we kind of made three different songs in essence, or three different ideas. I remember being in that room with him, and I was just like, what if we just put them all together? So this track was basically the journey of making an album for me. It kind of had an A and a B and a C section. That A section was kind of like the excitingness of starting an album. Like I was so excited, I was ready to dive in. And that B section was really kind of the struggle to it, the hardships, that it was very bumpy. It's not as easy as just making an album. It's not as easy as just writing all your emotions down. And that C section, that ending section, is kind of like a proudness feel to it. It's very full and very, I've done it. So yeah, that is a really special track to me. That is definitely very meditative. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, you said before that this album was years in the making. How did you feel when it finally dropped and it was out there and you could start performing it?
Yeah, it is crazy. I mean, one of the songs called Blossom on the album, that first was bought as an idea when I was in like school, when I was like 17. And so that having it in its final form and even just performing it is crazy to me because I'm thinking this was something I first like created with someone or listened to when I was 17 and I'm now like 23 like here just performing it. So yeah, performing these songs is really lovely because it means I can relive the moments of making it again. And yeah, it's really beautiful to connect with the
Yeah.
audience with
And you
that.
had your first ever performance in Nottingham of 2023. How do you think you've changed emotionally? Of course, it's very scary performing for the first time, and now you're seasoned, you're used to it. So, how would you say like putting the sets together has changed, your emotions towards it has changed?
Yeah, I think when I first started performing, it was so nerve-wracking. I was so scared to go on the stage. And back then it was kind of like I need to hit every note. I need to get this perfect. If I don't hit like all the notes, it's not right. And I still don't hit all the notes when I'm performing, definitely not. Now to me it's more about the emotion and the passion I put into a performance. I want to walk off the stage and say like, yeah, you know what, I felt that. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't have to put the perfect set together all the time. If I'm feeling something specific in that point of time, I will just do the songs that I want to do. It's more about pleasing myself now instead of what others would want to hear. Of course, I want to give everyone a good time and everything like that, but yeah, now I think it's just really being present with the songs and doing what I want to do
Yeah.
and experimenting as well if I want. Nothing has to be so strict and rigid. When we think about performances, sometimes it's just like it's this really big, scary set thing we have to do, but sometimes just having fun with it is all you need.
No, of course. And I feel like the spontaneity of it makes it special. Of certain moments you can't curate. It's just if the audience is there and you're in it, that moment feels like magic.
Definitely,
And I feel
definitely.
like, especially with hitting all the notes, the audience doesn't know if you're hitting the notes properly, let's be honest.
It's true. If you're like showing the emotion, showing the passion, like, and you're really feeling it, the audience will feel it without a doubt.
Exactly. So going back to your first ever EP rerouting, how do you think that project obviously differs with this one?
Yeah, rerouting was first ever project I put out, and I would say that project was definitely it's kind of in the name. It was kind of me rerouting, taking myself out of a different environment into this musical journey. I never really had a proper musical background. I studied biology at university. It was something completely different. So rerouting was kind of placing myself somewhere for the first time that I had never been, if that makes sense. So it was kind of just exploring a lot of emotions that way. And Everlasting was kind of I'm in this space now. I'm now gonna feel what I need to feel and write about it and write about what's affecting me for the long term. So yeah, they're both really special to me, and I love when you can see progress in artistry, and yeah, it's something I always strive for.
Yeah, how did you fall into music? Where did it all begin for you?
Yeah, oh, good question. Good question. I don't know if I ever feel like I've like fallen into it. It kind of just happened, if that makes sense. So I've always loved music as any creative would, and just the essence that you can really express yourself through musical formats, and it doesn't need to be perfect or make sense to anyone. It's kind of like you're making your own language, and it's up to the other people if they want to understand it or not. Like some people won't, some people will. That's great. And so yeah, I love that aspect. Like music is a universal language, but as an artist, you're creating your own within that field. So yeah, I started writing when I was maybe 15, and then yeah, it kind of just all spiraled, and I
Snowballed
just
from there.
just from there, just kept writing.
That is fair. Would you say music is your only creative vice, or do you have anything else you love to do, even if it's a hobby?
Or I would love to make clothes. I've just started trying to get into sewing. Um, I love fashion. Yeah. So maybe that.
I
I'm
love
nowhere near doing that right now, but just a little sewing here.
right. Everyone has to start somewhere, and I feel like being
Exactly.
like South Asian, our grandmas like would teach us how
Right,
to do this. Like we need to know how to
right,
sew.
right. Do you know what I mean?
It's in
Right.
our culture.
Yeah. Like I'd be silly not to be an expert in
Exactly.
like a
Got to
year.
start somewhere. Going into your musical influences, who would you say like your top five artists are?
Top five. Esperanza Spalding is a great one. Asha Putley. Um, an artist called Gene Harris. He's from the 70s. Oh, Kia and Liv as well, which are quite like underground, jazzy, R&B, soulful artists. They're really great. Yeah.
Okay. And going into like what's next for you, of course, I see you doing like so many shows and you're killing it. Of course, I can't tell you when's the next drop. Have you seen Dave released the album and somebody said, when's your next album dropping? Like,
Yeah,
he didn't just release one. So I'm not gonna
I
say
just
that to
gave it
you.
20 tracks.
Exactly. You released it 20 tracks that took years of curating and it's so special. But what's going on, like what you up to at the moment, of course, with touring and performing these shows?
Yeah, so I've just kind of been performing the material that I just dropped. I've also been doing a lot of backing vocals for Ranger as well, who was on the project. He's dropping an album soon. But in terms of my own stuff, I'm just writing as always. I've always wanted to be an album making artist. So yeah, more albums to come, and there's no time frame on that. It will just happen when it happens, hopefully.
Of course. You killing it. Now, are you ready for some quick fire round of questions I love to ask all my guests?
Okay, go for it. I don't know.
Okay,
Go, yeah, go
question
for it.
one. If you were a boxer, what would your ring walk song be?
Um, so it would be Sip a Sip by Jasmine Sandless.
Okay, fair. If you were in a food fight, what would your food of choice be?
Um, Black pudding because I hate it. Well,
Mm.
actually, I've never tried it, but I hate it. I always think in food fights you should throw what you're not gonna want to eat because you just be like wasting food then. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you just don't like the look of it and it's not for you. Dash it.
What was the concept? Who said let's eat pig's blood?
You're fast. You're all right. What childhood movie do you feel like shaped you as a kid?
Um, any Bollywood movie actually. The first ever Bollywood film I think I watched was Goya Mil Gaya, which was really great. And I think I cried at that when I was younger. And there's many a dances to me dancing to Om Shanti Om. So yeah, any Bollywood films.
Okay. Now, this may be a hard question. Death row meal. We've got starters, mains, sides, drink, dessert.
I'm keeping with a South Asian theme, maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Starters, we're gonna go pani puri, which is a South Asian snack starter. Oh, I could eat like tens of thousands of them. Main would be any type of curry. Gorsh, Begum Botta, which is like aubergine. And sides would be halloumi sticks. I love halloumi. And dessert, a good old brownie or a gulab jamun with ice cream.
Any particular drinks?
Drinks, Rubicon mango.
Oh, that's a shout. I
Yeah.
love how you're sticking to the culture and then you've got a cheap
Yeah.
Rubicon mango on the side. I love it.
Balance.
Exactly. And last but not least, top five albums of all time.
I think that would be closely related to my top artists as well. So Emily's D plus Evolution by Esperanza Spalding is really great. Um, The Devil is Loose by Asha Putley as well. Asha Putley was one of the first South Asian jazz artists I ever came across, so that holds a special place in my heart, definitely. Um, Oh Snap by Cecile McLaurin. That's one album that I came across recently that I was just blown away by. Astral Signal by Gene Harris as well, and Genesis by Charles Sullivan.
Love it. Good selection.
That's
I love it. Thank you so much for chatting with me today.